What's going on, everyone, and welcome once again to another episode of Mind and Mateo. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. It has been a fun week. A lot of big things going on in my life. I feel like I'm saying that every single week, but it's the truth, and I can't really say anything else. There's a lot of things going on. I had a really great week of being able to connect with people. And extend some friendships and really dive deeper and be able to talk to people. I'm learning more and more that life, at the end of the day, when you boil a lot of things down, it's a lot of it's about friendships and connections and people. And so that's something that I'm trying to work in networking professionally, but also just in my personal life. Who do I want to grow up with my son, who is now about 7, going on 8 weeks old, 2 months. It is crazy. Time is flying by. The little man keeps getting bigger and bigger. I think he came out a little over 7 pounds, and now I am pretty sure he's over 11 pounds at this point. And I love him so much. He is so cute. It is a highlight of my day to wake up and to change his diaper, and then he's smiling at me the whole entire time. And I love it. It melts my heart. It makes my day, and it's just something that's really great. So we say, what are we going to talk about today, Mateo? I want to talk about making the decision. What do you mean making the decision? One thing that I'm running up against or running into, I don't really know what the best way to say. I guess I could say is one of the things I'm experiencing more and more is the need for decisiveness in a lot of areas of life. And it comes down to making really big decisions kind of on the fly. And it's multiple decisions at time, whether it's personal, whether it's what I'm going to invest in, whether it's my marriage with my wife, whether it's my son and deciding what's best for him and everything like that, or it's work and having to make the tough decisions or having to make good decisions in which direction I'm going to be bringing the business in and whatnot. It seems to be coming faster and faster, and it seems like the more success or the more potential that I come across, it just calls for more decisions. And so I want to talk about that because it's something that I'm learning. I'm learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable with the decisions, because I suffer from what maybe a lot of people deal with as well. I won't say suffer. I deal with analysis paralysis. I try to become as informed about a situation as possible before making a decision, and due to that, it can be borderline obsessive, to be honest. I try to research every single possibility. And I mean, if you can see in the corner, I have a chessboard here. I like playing chess a lot, and I like to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moves ahead if possible. And so what happens is, if you're not careful, if you focus too much on the details and what could happen, you can end up having analysis paralysis, where you're just stuck analyzing the situation, analyzing all the different factors, and analyzing what could be, or what, if you made this decision to go this way, what would happen? Or, oh, what about this? Or, the big fear of the unknown is another one. And so how have I overcome that? How have I gotten past that to be able to be productive? Because if you have experienced analysis paralysis, you spend all this time doing something, and quite honestly, I'd say more than half the time, maybe 70% of the time, you spend so much time analyzing something that you don't ever actually pull the trigger on whatever it is that you're analyzing, whatever the decision needs to be made. And you make the decision to not act, to not make a decision. You kind of just stay stuck in limbo or floating around. And so I'm not saying go gung-ho and just start making decisions on the fly. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But what I am saying is you have to have a time frame on some things. There are times where you'll be able to take a day, 2, 3 days to make a decision on something. There are times where you need to make a decision within half an hour, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And you have to find a way to work through the fear of failure, the fear of the unknown, analysis paralysis, and it's going to help you out a lot in many different areas of your life. So I just wanted to look at dictionary.com real quick for the definition of decision. There are quite a few, and I like all of them. They're really great. Definition of decision from dictionary.com is the act or process of deciding, determination as of a question or doubt by making a judgment. The act of or need for making up one's mind. Something that is decided, resolution. A judgment as one formally pronounced by a court. The quality of being decided, firmness. I really like the firmness as well, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But one more time, the act or process of deciding, determination as of a question or doubt by making a judgment. The act of or need for making up one's mind. Something that is decided, resolution. The quality of being decided, firmness. It's important to know one thing, I think, is the key takeaway. If you don't listen to the rest of this episode, that's fine. Take this one thing away. At the end of the day, every single action or inaction that you take in your life has a cost. You will be footed with a bill at some point. It will be presented to you. The question is, are you going to like what's being presented? Are you going to like the cost? Are you going to like paying that bill? Is it going to bring you something that you want from your life? We all know how it is to receive a bill in the mail or you get a notification of a random charge and you're not expecting it. You're not expecting, $250, $1,000, $5,000, whatever the bill might be. It just comes out of nowhere and you are like, man, I forgot to pay this thing, or I'm paying this thing late. I didn't know about this bill or whatever it might be, but you get that unexpected bill and it's not worth what you're receiving. What you're receiving is something that is not worth the expense. And because of your lack of decision or whatever it may be, the action that you or inaction that you took, now you are stuck with this bill. You're stuck with this responsibility and you're stuck with the result. And we all know how it is to get the bill for something and to pay it proudly, to pay it happily. You're going to pick up a new car. You're going to pick up a new product. You're going to pick up, something for your wife. Man, one of the best things I love is to go to the store, buy some flowers, and put my card in the thing. I don't know why. It's weird. I love it because as soon as I get the receipt, I'm excited. I know what I just purchased, what I just got the bill for is going to bring excitement to my life. It's going to make my wife happy. It's going to be something that brings something positive to my life, right? So there's always going to be a bill. Question is, when you get that bill, whether it's expected or unexpected, are you going to like what you're paying for? And so what is the opposite of a decision? It's indecisiveness. Dictionary.com says indecisiveness is the condition or quality of being unable to decide, conclude, or resolve something. Now, we all know when something is not resolved, it's unresolved, obviously. Unresolved events are horrible in my experience, because what is worse than making a decision maybe that you don't want to make is not making a decision and then having that thing snowball into an even worse event. I've experienced it so many times where I have pushed off a hard decision. I have said, I don't want to have this conversation with this person. I don't want to fire this person. I don't want to, have this tough, thing where I have to critique somebody's work. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to call this person to find out more information about this. I don't want to have to deal with this, the IRS. I don't want to have to deal with paying this bill that just came out of nowhere, calling them up and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to deal with it. And any time that I have not dealt with it, I've been indecisive or I've pushed it off, it's almost always 99% of the time snowballed into something that it never had to be. It was worse if I had not, it was a worse situation than if I had made the decision earlier and handled it right up front. And so I've got a few steps. These are some things that work for me. I had to use this last week, this past week that we just went through, and I will give you an example of times of making decisions and how I went through it. But number one, you got to take a breath. There's a lot of times when you're going through things, your adrenaline starts pumping. things start moving fast. You start breathing a little quicker. Your blood is flowing. Maybe you're caffeinated and you're kind of wound up. There are times when you're hearing stuff and you're starting to think about the decision that you need to make. And you're starting to think about all these different variables and all this kind of stuff. What you need to do is just take a deep breath. Take a couple. Take a second. Slow down. Gain control of your bodily functions. And just kind of calm. Bring it down a little bit. Slow down. I know you might be in a tough decision. Take a deep breath. Slow down. And allow yourself to get a little bit of oxygen and to put the brakes on something that might be moving a bit fast, right? That's number one. Number two, I want you, if possible, to write down the important details. Do it on your iPad, your phone. Do it on a piece of paper, whatever it might be, your laptop. It doesn't matter. Put the important details now that you don't want to forget, the things that matter. And then what I want you to do, step away. It's almost similar to step one. You got to step away from it, because what happens is anytime that emotion is high, reason is very low. And you'll notice this kind of seesaw effect where emotion or passion starts coming up, you'll start to see reason start to come down. As emotion and passion goes down, you'll start to see the ability to reason goes up more. So what you need to do is, write down everything that you don't want to forget that's important to the situation, and then take a step back. Step away. When I'm working from home and I have a tough call that came in, or I have a tough meeting that I'm trying to set up for, or I'm trying to game plan something, what I like to do is I write it down. I do a to-do, put it all on my I got a notes app on my iMac. And then I get up, I step away, I go to the kitchen, I'll go to my porch, I'll just look out of my backyard for maybe 60 seconds, 2-3 minutes, and take a few breaths and just allow my mind to just kind of calm down a little bit. I'm trying to step away from the situation physically, so that way I'm pulling that portion away for just a second. Give myself a second to recoup. And then number 3, re-enter deliberation and frame the event as if you were giving advice to someone else. This is super, super helpful for me. I don't know, maybe your mind doesn't work this way, but mine does. I'm telling you, this has helped me so many times. How often do we see a situation that we're in, right? We're in a situation, we're in something, and you have a friend come up to you, or someone that you care about, or someone around you, might even be a stranger, and they say, "Hey, bro, why don't you just do this?" And you're just dumbfounded. You're like, that's so simple. Why didn't I think of that? What is going on? Why didn't I see that? It's right in front of my face. It's like right here. Why couldn't I see that? Why couldn't I think of that? Because you're too close to the situation. It's very hard to see something when it's up close. And when it's you, when it's personal, it's very hard to see that thing sometimes. But if you come at it from a point of trying to give advice to someone else, and we all know everyone loves to give advice to other people. It comes second nature for most people, myself included. But if you come from it from the point of the third person of saying, if I were giving this advice to someone and I was impartial, it had nothing to do with me, it's not personal whatsoever, how would I give that advice to someone? Oh, okay, I would do, if I were you, I would do this and do that and whatnot, right? And you start thinking of it about that. You start deliberating. You start saying, okay, cool. Yeah, that actually makes sense. You'll start to see your mind go down a path that you probably weren't even thinking about. And it's just reframing a little bit of the situation, putting yourself in the third person, not making it personal, make it impersonal, right? Number 4, you have to weigh the consequences of inaction or choosing one direction over the other. This is really important. One thing that I, especially when you're doing the analysis paralysis or you get the fear of failure going on, you just want to know what if I make a decision to go left, what's going to happen? If I make the decision to go right, what's going to happen, right? That bill that's coming to me, is it for something that I want? And you need to know, as much as possible. You don't need to be perfect, but I want to know, hey, if I say this and I go this direction, this is what's going to happen. If I say this and I go this other direction, this is what I think is going to happen. Knowing those two things, I decide to go this direction, or I decide to go that direction, or I decide to do this or that, whatever it might be. But it's important to know at least, I won't say no, to think about for a second. Think about the consequence of your action, because you don't want to have any regrets. You don't want to, shoot off the hip and just, say, I'm going to go this direction just because you're trying to save time or whatever it might be. No, know the bill that's coming from the action that you're about to take, and then take it, right? 6, know that mistakes will come, but the best you can do is make an informed decision when possible. Don't beat yourself up. Don't fall into perfectionism. Again, going off of 5, once you've made that decision, you've taken a few minutes, maybe you've taken a day, 2, 3 days, whatever it might be, the time that you've taken, you've decided to go into a direction. Don't second guess yourself. I know how this is. This happened to me this last week where I made a decision, and after the decision, I felt confident. An hour, not even an hour, passed by, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, should I really have done that? Should I have said that? Should I have done this way? Maybe I should have went this other way. This is very weird. Why was this like this? Maybe, and you start thinking about all these different things. Look, you have to understand, it's not going to be perfect. It's not, and that's okay. That's okay. You did the best with what you had at the time. The only thing that you can do now is be okay with the decision that you made, right? Move forward. And if there is a skill that you can improve for the next time you come up to a decision like this, then work on improving that skill. But don't second guess yourself. Don't say play the what if game. Don't go through and beat yourself up or any of that kind of stuff. You made a decision, move forward. Build off of that decision. Don't fall into that trap of perfectionism, and then you're stuck trying to critique the decision that you made and the way that you did it, and before you know it, you've made the decision, everything has gone, but you're still stuck on it. Everyone has moved forward, but you're still stuck on the decision that you made and how you could have done it better or whatever it might be. And then number 7, making tough decisions is hard. Takes a lot of brain power. Takes a lot of energy sometimes. Sometimes your adrenaline's been pumping. You're a little fatigued afterwards. Treat yourself to something light, something nice. Don't make it a whole day thing. Don't go to the spa. Don't, whatever it might be. Don't be gone for 5 hours. But get yourself something nice. Maybe you want a cappuccino. Maybe you want a latte. Maybe you want a little muffin or a cookie or something like that. Maybe you go on Amazon real quick, buy you something real quick, something for $15 real quick. Make yourself feel good. Get a little what's it called? Dopamine hit or something like that, right? Treat yourself to something nice, real quick, real light. Give yourself an attaboy, a pat on the back for making that tough decision, because you're going to have to keep making those tough decisions. The older you get and the more responsibility that you pick up, you're just going to have to keep making those tough decisions. So you might as well enjoy it. You might as well learn to love the process, learn to improve on the process, and then give yourself a little treat so that the next time you're about to make a tough decision, you got a little something coming to you. So let me go over that one more time. Number 1, you want to take a breath. Number 2, write down the important details and then step away. Number 3, re-enter deliberation and frame the event as if you were giving advice to someone else. Number 4, weigh the consequences of inaction or choosing one direction over the other. Number 5, once you've come to a conclusion, move forward with the decision. Don't second guess yourself. Don't do that. Number 6, know that mistakes will come, but the best you can do is make an informed decision when possible. Don't beat yourself up. Don't fall into perfectionism. And last but not least, number 7, treat yourself to something light and you'll be good. All right? Now, storytelling time. This last week, I had a very tough decision. It was a business decision, and it was something that I've been not wanting to do for a little while now. And I knew that making this decision was going to be very tough. It was drawing a hard line in the sand, and between us and maybe a client, right? And so it's something that I didn't want to do, but I knew I had to do it. And I had to do it because what happens is when you don't have a resolution, something remains unresolved. You like I said before, you're in limbo. It's it's indecisive. It's just sitting there. And what that can do is that can weigh on you. It can cause, mental fatigue. It can also cause confusion in the situation. And confusion in the situation is not good for you, and it's really not good for the other party as well. So what I ended up having to do is I had to make a very tough phone call, and lasted a little bit longer than I would have liked. I think I handled it to the best that I could, but what it did bring was it was a conclusion to an event. It was decisiveness. There was now firm ground to build upon. I'm still not 100% sure the results of this action, but what I do know from now is that I have turned the page. It has really kind of left my mind, and I can move forward knowing that, hey, this decision, this situation may not have been the best. It could have probably been better. There could have been things done by both sides to improve it, but I've made the decision now, and I can move forward and I can build upon that decision and not, sit here saying what if, shoulda, coulda, woulda, whatever it might have been, right? It has brought peace to me mentally, and it has made me more productive because now I can move forward. I don't have this thing dragging me down in the back of my mind. I can move forward knowing, hey, this is the result so far that I saw from that phone call, and this is what I can at least expect now. And so, as I've gone deeper into business, as I'm married longer and longer, me and my wife have been together for going over 4 years now. We've been together dating for 11, married for 4. And there's always tough decisions that need to come along. Now that I'm a father, I know that there are tough decisions that are coming up for Samuel. But going through these 7 steps has helped me tremendously. And I hope that it will help you make some key decisions in your life and help you build a life that you want to live. It's a lifestyle thing. All right. I love y'all. Have a good one. And until the next time.